Minnoch eventually got so tired of being heavy that he decided to cut his food intake to almost nothing. Under a doctor's prescription, he went on a 600-calorie-a-day diet of only vegetables. He also took large doses of a diuretic that failed to eliminate excess fluid in his body. After about 3 weeks of weakness and being bedridden, he listened to his wife's pleas to enter a hospital. Minnoch was admitted to the University of Washington Medical Center in Seattle in March 1978, suffering from heart and respiratory failure. Firefighters were forced to remove a window at his home and place him on a thick piece of plywood. Minnoch was unable to move or speak. It took over a dozen firemen, rescue personnel, and a specially modified stretcher to transport him to the hospital. There, he was placed on 2 beds pushed together, and it took 13 attendants to roll him over. At the hospital, Minnoch was diagnosed with a massive edema, a condition in which the body accumulates excess extracellular fluid. Due to his poor health, measuring his weight with a scale was impossible. However, endocrinologist Robert Schwartz estimated his weight to be about 1,400 pounds. According to Schwartz, he was probably more than that. He was by at least 300 pounds the heaviest person ever reported, and probably the most unusual thing about Case was that he lived. He reached a peak body mass index of 186 kilograms and spent several days on a respirator. In April 1978, his doctors described his medical state as critical. Schwartz said Minnoch displayed symptoms of Pickwickian syndrome, where insufficient breathing causes one's level of carbon dioxide in the bloodstream to rise. Minnoch remained in the hospital for 2 years and was put on a diet of 1,200 kilocalories per day. When discharged from the hospital, he weighed 476 pounds, having lost 924 pounds, the largest human weight loss ever documented at the time. He hoped to eventually reach a weight of about 210 pounds, stating, "I've waited 37 years to get this chance at a new life." Despite this, he soon started to gain weight again. He was readmitted to the hospital just over a year later in October 1981, after his weight increased to 952 pounds in just 7 days. He died 23 months later on September 4, 1983, aged 41. At the time of his death, he weighed 798 pounds. According to his death certificate, Minnoch's immediate cause of death was cardiac arrest, with respiratory failure and restrictive lung disease as contributing factors. He was buried in a wooden casket made of plywood 3.5–4 inch thick and lined with cloth. The coffin took up 2 cemetery plots, and around 11 men were needed to transport his casket to his burial place at Mount Pleasant Cemetery.